All right, and it says we are live. Hello, I'm Kaylee, and this is my channel, Phantasmic Fandoms, and I have my good friend. Yes, I pointed the right way. It's Jean Claire. I always get confused. My friend is Jean Claire over here from Zoel's World and being a Jean Claire, and she's looking all cute with her Monsters Inc. Morgan would be very proud of you.
She would. I actually carried my Monsters Inc. backpack today, but it's downstairs. So
So this show is my first ever in a new series that I'm really excited for. Um, Thank you, William. I do think it's interesting. This is my first ever in a new series. This is Keeping It Kind, which is a live show that I wanted to bring some of my creator friends on and kind of just talk to them about like their YouTube journey and also on like the impact that they do make in the community, because it's this past year, 2021, when I came back to YouTube. AJANACLAIR was one of the first people I actually like started talking to again, and really made a big impact on my decision to like stay on YouTube.
yeah.
So did Tim and Katie. Hello, thank you for joining us. Hi. And Tim and Katie will be on a show a little later on down the line, but I really do feel like community is a big thing and like makes a big difference in YouTube and in social media. And kind of to give like a short little backstory about me and Ajana Claire before we start. So when I came back to YouTube after like a little break, hey Mitch, thanks for joining. When I came back, I had been on Instagram, and no offense to Instagram was a very brutal place for me. I had like, it was very like self-esteem wise, it was very hard. It was very like cutthroat, and it was just like a very like intense environment. Yes. Which I was at the time I had gotten accepted to the Disney College program, and so I met a lot of people who were doing that, and it was like all these people essentially trying to become influencers and things like that, and wanting to do that, and it was very cutthroat and it was very intense, and I'm just not that kind of person. I'm just not.
You're definitely not. You're not.
I'm very chill, and I'm like, I just, it was too much. It was too much for me, and so I came to to YouTube, and I reached out to some people I knew, started a tag, and then Ajana Claire messaged me and was like, hey, like, I want to do this tag. And we just started talking, and was one of the nicest people, really helped me reach out and like start, meet a lot of my friends and start a lot of friendships in the community, because Ajana Claire just like reached out, and I didn't know you were just coming back too.
I was just coming back, and I didn't know what a tag was. I had like 100,000 questions for you. I was like, well, I want to do this, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know how to do a tag, and I've never seen one before. Because like up until that point, like I had only really watched YouTube for like trip research. So I had only watched like travel vlogs and cruise vlogs, like things like that. So I really was completely unaware of this whole like Disney community, although we had a Disney trip coming up, or we had just finished a Disney trip. It was something, and no, we had gone to Disney before, and I was doing Disney vlogs from that trip and was incorporating it into the channel, and knew that I wanted to like explore more Disney content, just because like we had gotten annual passes and we had planned to like be at the parks more, and so I just really wanted to get more involved. So that was like really helpful, because that tag kind of broke the ice.
Yeah. It was a great, like, honestly, and I'll actually have Alicia on next week, and Alicia is the one that I did the tag with, and I don't know how it even worked out the way it did. With you did Vlogmas this year, and I did it last year. But like, people with Vlogmas, they schedule out like months in advance.
Vlogmas. I did a Jonathan's version of vlog. I have yet to complete a Vlogmas.
Well, you did. I will say you tried. I only was able to complete it because I was out of work at the time. Like, I hadn't started my job yet. I was between school and work, and I still struggled. And I was like, there's just no way. I can't.
I always start off very strong. I always start off very
You
strong. Like
did.
the first 10 days are like strong. And this year, the first few days was super easy because I was a part of the Val over at Singer Family Adventures. She was doing
Yeah.
this Hanukkah swap, and I was like, I'll do all of the days. And that made it like super easy content because it was like swap content. I could pre-film it all. And then after that, it was just like downhill. And I know that now. Like for me, December is just a bad month. Like in my real life profession, December is like year
Yeah.
end. People are trying to get things done. So there was just no time for anything. Like even this year
Yeah.
was particularly bad. Like I remember last year was pretty bad as well, but this year was particularly bad. Like our Christmas tree was up and not decorated until like the Christmas Eve almost. Like it was pretty bad this year. So I know for next year, because I'm already planning for next year, and I'm just gonna have to pre-film a lot more than what I've
Yeah.
pre-filmed this year in order to have like that
Yeah.
content up and ready to go.
It's a beast. It's a beast. I'm happy in a way I did it, and I did complete it. Although I had some like pre-film content. I had to like, switch a lot of stuff around to complete it
Yeah.
in 2020. But I did it one time, and if I never do it again, I'm okay. I'm kind of okay with that. But that was my comeback to YouTube, was that Vlogmas. But to kind of, I got some questions to ask you, so we'll go ahead and hop into those because I have a lot of them. We probably won't get through all of them because it take forever. But really quick before we do that, we'll go ahead and say, hey, Tammy popped on. Hey, Tammy.
Hey Tammy.
April, who we
Hey,
love. Yeah, Vlogmas is hard, April. And you are too a beautiful lady, you and Emma.
oh.
But yes. So what made you decide to start a YouTube channel, AJANACLAIR? What started it all?
So it all started with the fact that we had done so many trips. Like Zoelle was born in 2016, and by the time we started our channel when did we start our channel? 20 was it 2018? 2019. When we started our channel in
Yeah,
2019, that's when we started.
2019.
In that 3 years, she had been to like 5 different countries.
Oh wow.
Like we had been to Dubai, we had been to like the Bahamas, Bermuda, Dominican Republic. Like we'd been to so many different places. And a lot of the places that we went when we were traveling, there were a lot of questions that I had in terms of traveling with like minors. Like for example, when we went to Dubai, we were going to the Burj Al Arab for my 40th birthday. It was my 40th birthday trip. Zoelle was with us. It was me, my mom, my cousin, and my girlfriend, and Zoelle. And for my 40th birthday, we were going to the Burj Al Arab for high tea. They had 2 options. One at the lower level, and that was like the family friendly, and one was like at the top of the building on the revolving restaurant that was adults only. I didn't go all the way to Dubai to go sit in like the first level of
Yeah.
a restaurant. So
Right.
one of the things that I started researching and that I needed was a freaking babysitter for that night while we were in Dubai. And like, who does that, right? Like I couldn't find any information on getting a babysitter in Dubai. And I like went on like expat group pages. Like I tried to find like people like, I tried to go in like Facebook groups and try to find like people who were like Americans living in Dubai. Like, do you guys have a like, are there any nannies available who could like, work on an evening or something like that? And I couldn't find anything. And then I started looking at hotels. A lot of the hotels over there actually do have childcare services.
Oh.
And we were staying at I always stay in Marriott properties at the, was this before or after the merger? There was either still Starwood, but they're like Marriott now.
Yeah.
And so we stayed at like the St. Regis in Abu Dhabi and the Grosvenor House in Dubai and the Mina El Said in Dubai. And it was so we were at all of these kind of upscale hotels, and I contacted like the concierge, and they explained to me like what their babysitting services were. So they had like a day camp where you could drop the kids off for camp, and you could do like private nannies. And so I ended up doing that. But after that was like, I had a lot of very specific questions when we were traveling that I couldn't find answers to. And I was like, well, I should probably do like a travel vlog on some of this stuff. And so that's what we started to do. But of course, like when I started, I didn't know how to edit a video. It was like I had these ideas for what I wanted to do, but I had no skills to actually execute any of them. And so ultimately we started very small. Like we lived in New York at the time, and we had like season passes like Sesame Place. And so like our first like vlog is at like Sesame Place, and it's just really bad. but and then it was like, and also like when you start a YouTube channel, like you're very like camera shy, and you don't know what to say. And then it's also just very unnerving, because it's almost like, and a little bit, it's like I was happy with my decision to start a channel, and I was really excited to vlog, but a part of me was like a little embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
And so, and it was like, because it was like one of those things where, well, if it's not good, then it's not going to, I don't, what are people going to say? And, so, but I mean, the big reason that we started the channel was for like our travel vlogging. And so we started doing like little trips and little things that here and there. And then I started, like, we went to Disney for Zoel's 3rd birthday, and I started releasing those travel vlogs. And then in February, after I had a miscarriage, so I like got off track on the channel, and then COVID hit in March. And then so all of our plans for we had travel plans, like we had a Disney trip planned in April where we were going to go to like the DVC member party that they used to have, like that free member magic party for DVC members. We had several cruises. We had like a back-to-back cruise where we were going to be on a cruise ship for like 2 weeks, in the same 2 different itineraries, but the same room for the whole 2 weeks. And we had all of these big plans, and then the great unpleasantness hit, and it was like, so your travel channel is going to be sit in your house and do unboxing.
It definitely hit the travel.
It hit the travel.
I'm happy. Tim said across the infinite multiverse, I cannot fathom it as AJANACLAIR variant who is camera shy. But you know what? I do because I'm very like, I feel like I'm a pretty extroverted person too. And like you come off that way on camera. You come off very very confident and extroverted, but it is a lot. It is a lot to be on camera, and especially the travel vlogging. Like when I first did my vlogs, like my little like vlogs for Vlogmas, like I had my phone out and I didn't talk on them. I didn't let anyone know. My grandmother, who was with me on the trip, didn't even know I vlogged. I was that secretive about it. And then I went with Tim and Katie, and I remember the first time I was like trying to do it. I'm like, I'm so nervous. People are going to be staring at me. And then like I got with them, and I was like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. Because like, being with other people who do it, or even just like I was doing it and they weren't at some points, because once you kind of like get past that first part of being like, this is awkward, it really does get easier. Which is what Tammy said. She said she used to be that way. She used to be shy, but now for the most part, it's like nothing. And I think once you get in like to a routine, like that's for people starting out, like I do think it's hard, but then once you kind of like warm up, you're like, oh, it's fine. It's like talking to a friend.
Well, for me, it wasn't so much like the camera shyness, but it was all the back end stuff. Like I was really like, when I watch Tim and Katie's videos now, like I'm always like, it makes me not want to release my vlog. Same. Editing is like so like top notch, right? Like it's like his skills are like so up there, and I'm just like, I like the idea that he put together a 251 clip video, and I'm sitting here like, look, if I can just make some jump cuts, I'm happy, right? Like if I can just piece this all together in a way that it makes sense and have a finished product that doesn't just look like completely crazy. but I think, so that's like the tricky part, like for me
Oh
anyway,
yeah.
like because like I am like, I wouldn't say like I'm a perfectionist, but I don't like to have my name attached to something that I don't think is good. And
Oh
as
yeah.
bad as I think some of my original vlogs were, like if you look at like some of my first vlogs, like they're bad, right? I mean, they've gotten better and they will continue to get better, but of course I didn't know what I was doing back then. So
Well, Tim says our stuff is top notch. I
oh,
agree though. I mean, like I tried to like edit some vlogs and I'm like, they're not bad. And I'm proud of myself. Like they've gotten better, but I'm like, it's just Tim and Katie. I don't, there's no,
well, and that's the thing,
there's,
like exactly.
it's
Like when I
great
first
though.
started, I actually like when I started editing, when we finished our Disney trip and I was editing like our Disney vlogs, I actually when I watched those vlogs back, I'm very proud of what I did because for what I did versus where I was in terms of my YouTube journey, like before I put out my first video, I had never edited anything. Like I didn't even, I was using like it was like the Windows version of iMovie that was on an older PC that I bought like back in 2014 that they don't even put on PCs anymore, right? So there's no like Android, no PC equivalent of like iMovies anymore. And so like I mean, and it was very very limited software, and so like I started using DaVinci Resolve, and that's pretty much the thing that I've been using since. And I still, it's like my cell phone. Like I have this Samsung S21 Ultra, and I promise you, I've probably unlocked 15% of the actual features that this phone is capable of. And that's where I am with my editing. I'm like, I have this like great program, but I haven't even graduated to the paid version yet. Like
Yeah.
that's how basic it is. And when I started like for editing my trip videos, I stopped watching other YouTubers because it was giving me such anxiety doing the comparison. And I was like, you're
Yeah.
not them. You haven't been doing this. This isn't your background. It's not in your wheelhouse. You have to do what's comfortable for you. You have to do it the way that works for you. And so like for anybody like coming up and thinking about starting a YouTube channel and you're feeling that pressure, just take a break from watching until you get your bearings together, until you get your footing, until you get comfortable doing things the way you want to do.
Yeah.
And then you can go back to watching, because like me, like the whole comparison, it was too much. And once I did that and I kind of took a step back and I started just doing things the way that I wanted to do them and the way that I could do them, it was like, look, you do what you do. You're not Tim Tracker. You're not PC Dev. Like you do what you do, you get what you get, and you enjoy it. And quite frankly, I'm very happy with what we did, because now I sit down with Zoelle and I look at her and I look at these videos, and even though I'm still editing videos from 2019 in 2022, yes, they're still coming. I'm still releasing them. Because she was those videos now, though, editing those videos now, it's like, so it gives me such pleasure because she's so
Yeah.
tiny. She's so tiny. And I'm just looking at these videos as I'm editing them and I'm like, oh, like when we just did I released like a room tour of we were on the Disney Dream and we had 3 different cabins, and every room, while similar, was very very different. And you just have this little tiny human walking around and I'm like, oh my god, where did she go? She's so little.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing those earlier vlogs. I think the first vlog I ever watched of yours, it was a room tour, and I'm trying to think of where it was at
Was it the
exactly.
cabin?
It
It was
was the
either the
it
cabin
was.
or at the 2 bedroom at Wilderness Lodge, because those were the
No,
two room tours.
it was the cabin. It was a
Yeah,
cabin, I think. And I was like, "Whoa, this is good." And I always I enjoyed your videos, cuz I mean, vlogs are very out of my I started out doing reaction videos and then it was too mean, and so then I went to pin videos and I didn't know what I was doing. I still am changing my brand. My brand is still evolving. So, I'm trying to just like find, that was part, of my journey this year, is to find what makes me happy. And I think as a new person on YouTube, like a new creator, when you're starting out, it's okay to not know what you want to do exactly, but like you need to do what makes you happy. I feel like is what is the
exactly,
big thing. Because
exactly.
sometimes, and I've heard a lot of creators say this, where they'll be like, oh, like I get stuck in like this one video type where it's the best performing video and I do it because it's the best performing video, but I don't really like it. And in some ways I'm like, okay, I get doing that. And if you're okay doing it and it doesn't like bother you, then that's fine. But if you don't love it, too, it's like okay to be like, okay, I want to, do what you love and don't do it because, of an obligation, or like, and when you take the fun out of YouTube, I guess
Yeah.
is what I would say. Like,
Yeah.
especially early on, if you start committing yourself to stuff you don't like because it's doing better, like that's what I've had to tell myself of like, I don't even have 1,000 subscribers. Like, I'm not committed to anyone. I can change up. Like, if I don't like it,
Do
like
what I
I don't
want.
have to,
Exactly.
yeah, you don't have to put yourself into like a box like day 2 on
No.
YouTube, So
My thing is, if you're not paying me to do it, I'm not going to be miserable. Like
right.
I will be miserable for $1. Like I'll be happy for $1. Like it's fine, right? But I'm not making money off of this now. I will
Right.
someday. I'm speaking it into
Yeah.
existence.
Oh yeah.
It would be nice, right? But at the same time, like to make a video because it's a well performing video, even though it's not something I enjoy, with the limited amount of time that I have to do YouTube, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like when I say, like when I'm on like the camera telling you guys like I film videos at like 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, it's not like I'm saying I'm miserable and I'm filming videos at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm filming at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because one, that's the only time that I have where I'm not at work or I don't have family obligations, because everybody in my house is sleeping. But it's like because I really want to do it, right? Like, I'll have boxes staring at me and I want to know what's in those boxes. So if I
Yeah.
want to know, like I have to like get on camera, or I'll have like 10 mystery blind pins and I want to know what I got. Right? Like I have to film them. So I'm filming that time of night
Yeah.
because I want to, not because I have to. But I definitely let it be known. So like when people are watching, like you guys better appreciate this because I am filming in the middle of the night for you.
Yeah. Tim said his first of AJANACLAIR vlog he thinks he ever saw was meeting Elsa and Anna in New York, totally by yourself. I was like, this is a cool person that we should hang out with.
Oh, that was so fun, that video, because they had like blocked off. This is when Frozen 2 was coming out into the theaters, and they had blocked off the windows at Saks, and they were all mysterious, and it was like on my way to work every day and I had to pass these windows every day. So ultimately I was like, I have got to go see what this is all about. And the tickets were like $5 or something. Like they were really like cheap. They weren't like expensive tickets, but you just had to get them. And they like most of the tickets were like during the workday. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna sneak out of the office for a meeting and go check this out. And when I did, I was like, oh my God, like this thing is so immersive. Like my kid is going to be livid if she doesn't get to come. And everything was sold out, and I was like, crap, like how am I gonna, like how do I swing this? So I went to like the desk and I was like, are there like any waitlist tickets? And she was like, no, if you come and you get online, like they'll just let you in as a walk-in. I was like, oh. And so that's what we did, and that's how we got it.
That is so cool. I actually don't think I'm trying to think. I probably have seen it like way, way, way back. But I'm like, I hadn't
Yeah,
seen that one. It's one of your first ones, isn't it? It's like
it's one
one.
of my first ones. And it's funny
Yeah.
because like those vlogs are actually still, those vlogs are starting to get more views now than they
Yeah.
did when I first released them. So that's like just another tip for like, new YouTubers. Try to do content. Like when you do your content, like some of my content is like dated content. Like it's kind of a one and done and you're never really going to use that information again. But some of it is like, just stuff you can enjoy over time. Like it doesn't have to be, something in 2019 is still enjoyable in 2022.
Yeah. I agree. I think too, another thing that like is kind of to do with that, sometimes videos when you release them, they don't do the best to start out, and then, like, randomly, the algorithm will just, like, pick them up, like, a
Yeah.
few months down the line, and then you're like, "Oh, this video is, like, getting views every day," or, like, whatever, and it's like, it
Yeah.
didn't even do that great to start out.
Yeah.
So, it just the algorithm likes what it likes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you also just have to do
Yeah.
content that, that you enjoy doing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna be like an allears.net or a Disney food blog. Like, I don't do Disney news. Like, if I talk about something Disney, it's just because something that's personal to me or that personally affects me. But,
Yeah.
am I gonna be up on the latest trends? No, because I don't have that kind of time. Like, you have to be up on a minute to like be relevant for certain types of content. And I'm like, I'm still releasing 2019 vlogs in 2022. So clearly,
Same, girl.
Jean Claire is not where you want to go for your up to the minute Disney.
Yeah. It's hard. That's why I've like for me, I've quit being like I cannot commit to doing these like reaction videos to like TV series every single week. I'm like it's just too fat. Like I can't keep up with it. I can't get it edited in time. It's not relevant by the time I get it edited. So that's where I'm at, but it's similar to the news thing. Okay. Next question. What are some goals that you have for your channel this year?
So
Well,
my
both
goal,
channels. You have two. So
I do. I
yeah.
have goals for both channels, and they're not all revolved around the metrics. Like, what I love to I would love to hit 1,000 subscribers before my 1 year anniversary in May for being a AJANACLAIR, and I would love to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the first quarter for Zoel's World. How do I do that? I have no idea. Like,
You're really
people
close.
watch the videos, subscribe to the videos, like the videos. I don't know. Like, like, share it with your friends. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the recipe and the sauce is. And, the people tell you about the analytics and all of that. I want for my channels, for both of them, to increase engagement. Like, that is my
Yeah.
biggest goal, is engagement. I want more people. Like, I don't just want views. Like, I don't want a video that has 80,000 views and 35 comments. Like, I want people to engage with the content, which means I need to produce engaging content. I mean, there's only so much you can say about like a pin unboxing, right? I am not knocking the hustle of the pin unboxings because I do plenty of them on my
Yes.
channel. So please, nobody who does pin unboxing say, "Oh my God, AJANACLAIR doesn't think like pin unboxing." No, that is not what I said. That is not what I said. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I do have a very regular and dedicated following of people
Mhm.
who watch my content, and they enjoy it, and I absolutely love them and would not be here without them. But I would like to grow that. I would like to grow, not so much like, I don't want to be one of those channels that has like 5,000 subscribers and then my videos still only get like 500 views. Like, I want the numbers to make sense. And right now I do feel like they make sense. I have like 800 subscribers on Zoel's World, and most of my videos, like at one point, like I was just happy for videos to hit 100 views. And most of my videos actually do hit 100 views. And to me, that's like amazing. And the same on being a AJANACLAIR. I almost have 500 subscribers, and all of my videos over there, for the most part, hit at least 100 views, if not more. And to me, that ratio is amazing, right? And then the engagement is really good. So that's my goal, to have channel content that is engaging and that people can actually grow with. But I don't want to box myself. Like,
Right.
I don't want to be, limited. And I know like people have niches, and that's kind of why I started being a AJANACLAIR, because I'm like, it celebrates everything that I love. So there's no box here. There's no, yeah, you're gonna see it all. You're gonna see a little bit of this, you're gonna see a little bit of that. If it's something I like, I'm sharing it with you. If you enjoy it, great. If you don't, because I want my channel to be more about the relationship and engagement with me as a creator and as a person versus a specific type of content that I do.
Right. Yeah, I think you do a really good job of that, and I think that your personality is a big reason why a lot of your fans you know, and you get so much engagement. I will say, like, out of all of the people I do know on YouTube, I think your channels do a really good job of having that community and that engagement. And kind of the reason why, you know, I asked you on. Obviously, we have some very personal history, and like you meant a lot to me in my YouTube journey, but you also mean a lot to a lot of other people. And a lot of that has to do with you being very kind to other people in the community, you supporting them, and you know, supporting their content, showing up on their live shows, just being a very generous and kind person. Also, another thing that, you know, we'll touch base on in just a minute is, you know, you being an informative person in terms of, you know, like Loungeflies, for example, and some small shops and your experiences. And that's something, you know, I know when I was starting out, you know, I did the pins, and I didn't know, like, what, you know, when you're starting out in this world.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know when I met you, you didn't really, I don't think you had a lounge fly,
I
and
didn't
you didn't have
I didn't have a pin collection.
pin,
I didn't
no.
have a Funko Pop.
So you know, when you're starting out, you're kind of like, okay, like, what, you know, how do you find reputable sellers? And like, because a lot of people just go to like Shop Disney and that's it. They're like, they don't know that there's a world outside of that,
Yeah,
outside the parks. And so I
yeah,
think it's great that you are sharing different shops, and also to help those shops to have business, but also, you know, for people who want to expand, you
yeah.
know, their horizons with that. So, if you want to talk a little bit about how you decided to, you know, kind of get into the pins and lounge flies, since that was something kind of new to you, and you're branching out into the small shop world.
Yeah. So, you know, it's funny because I used to watch Mickey's Girls, and Danielle over at Mickey's Girls, she started
Mhm.
like this Loungefly content. She had like the Loungefly talks, and I would watch them. And I was like, oh, those bags are cute, but like, how many backpacks do you really need? As I look around, at all of the backpacks on the walls and the floors. But so I remember my very first lounge flight was last year when we went to Disney in February. I got a Bo Peep lounge flight. Like I saw it in we had gotten off of the Toy Story ride and Toy Story Mania, and we were coming through the gift shop, and I saw it, and I was like, I love that bag. I love Bo Peep. I absolutely have to have that. And I was like, that was going to be my one and only lounge fly. And then loungefly.com had a sale where they had some bags and they were like 30%, an additional 30% off. So I got a lot of bags for like 25 to $30. And then I was like, oh, these are so cute. And then I just kind of got hooked. And then I learned about pre-orders. And that's where you order Loungefly bags before they even come out. So like they'll have like pictures of like what the bags are going to be. And every month they do a drop. And my first drop, it was so intense. So I think I started collecting because it was the rush of collecting.
Yeah.
Like at first, like when you do pre-order certain bags that came out, and then it was like they had these Disney cast member bags that came out that, you know, people were trying to get, and they sold out in like 2 minutes, and there were 3 different bags you had to get in. I was like, it was like the rush of it all, and I was like the adrenaline rush of getting them. And so I think I ordered way more bags than I ever would have wanted to, trying to get the bag. And that was like my rookie mistake, because I ordered bags I didn't necessarily love or want, but I was in that moment. Like it used to
Yeah.
be a real rush. Like since then, it's kind of gone it hasn't even been a whole year yet, but it's like kind of gone downhill for me, the way Loungefly, because it's like just from the time that I joined kind of the Loungefly revolution, um, in like the February to March time to now, it exploded in the market, and it just felt very saturated. So like to me, like now the Loungefly market feels very saturated. Like it went from like a handful of like small shops where you could find your Loungefly bags outside of loungefly.com to really kind of being like small shops are like a dime a dozen. Like I can't even keep up now. So I like started my small shop series, and I was supporting all of these small shops, and then there would be so many more that started popping up, and I'm like, I can't be spread that thin. Like I just can't. Like I
Yeah.
um you know, I
Yeah.
definitely want to try to highlight the shops, you know, because they all have like different kind of features and stuff. But I've also gotten to a place where I really only shop at a handful of places. So for 2022, I will be focusing more on my collection versus the small shops because I shop at the same like three
Yeah.
places. Um, but to the extent that what ends up happening though is, and why it's good to know of the other small shops, is when a bag is really popular and it sells out from some of the more popular sites, some of the lesser known small shops will still have it in stock. And if
Yeah.
you don't know that and you don't know that they exist, then you won't even know to go check. And then if
Right.
you're like one of those people who just have to have the bag, the minute it drops, you're going to
Yes.
go and get on eBay or Mercari and buy the bag for double the amount. When if you had just, known about, because I see bags in like these Facebook groups that are posted for $200. And I'm like, that bag is still available retail at this website. But, I don't like to poach people's posts.
Right.
So, I don't like to like knock anybody's hustle, but I do try to consider myself an inbox angel because I will inbox the person who's looking for the bag and let them know, like, don't buy the $200 bag, just go to the shop and get it for retail.
Yeah.
I just
And
won't say that.
that's something like I don't have a lot of lounge. I did for this show. I put this Loungefly here because I like was organized. This bookshelf is a mess. I showed you the carnage, but I was like, for AJANACLAIR, I got a Loungefly up there because you are the Loungefly queen. But I do think it's, important. Like if I was ever going to buy a Loungefly, I would be like, let me look up AJANACLAIR. Let me look up these videos and see what's going on. Cause, a lot of people would, like you said, they would honestly pay that money. They would hate doing it. But if it's something you love and you don't know better,
Yeah,
you're going to be sucked into doing that. So I think
yeah,
it's good to have people in the community that do share their little secrets, if you call it that, and
yeah,
do kind of tell people the inside tips
yeah.
for that. Really quickly before our next question, hello Nina, thank you for coming on. Um, she asked, how do you gauge what bags are going to be super popular or sell out?
It's like
Sorry, my
the
dog made
stock market, right? Like you don't really know what's going to perform. You try to look at historical data and see the kind of bags that, tend to perform better than others. You try to look at, popular characters, popular fandoms, or, a bag with a rare character is likely to perform better than a bag with a less rare character. But as common as he is, a Stitch bag usually almost always performs well, right? Like, and there are 5 billion of those. And then, the more popular fandom. So it's really hard to tell, and that's part of the game though, because it's like you almost like the Castle series, like when they first came out with the Castle series, they started off with that Cinderella Castle. That bag sold out. That bag sold out the first night. It was beautiful, and it set the stage for like the Castle series, and everybody's like, okay, we're going to get this whole Castle series. And then they came out with the dang on Jasmine bag, and people were like, Jasmine didn't sell out. Like it just didn't. And I'm looking at her, and I still like looking at her next to the other Castle bags. And like they did her dirty, right? Like her Castle bag has a big old lamp on the front. Like it's a genie bag, not the a Jasmine Castle bag. But it's like it's just hard to like gauge, and you just have to like you take that chance, and sometimes you have to just buy the bag because you just don't know. And the one thing you don't want to do is not get the bag and then it sell out at retail, and then you have like FOMO and you're just like, now I'm gonna have to go buy the bag on Mercari. Like this Evil Queen bag right here, this bag sold out in like 2 minutes flat. Like it sold out from my cart. But this was also a
Oh,
FunCon exclusive. And this one was hard because it was released with a Funko Pop. So you had now Loungefly collectors, and it was released as a bundle. You could only get it as a bundle. So we already knew that was going to be a hard release because you had the Funko collectors who wanted the Funko Pop and you had the Loungefly collectors who wanted the bag. So you had two different groups of collectors now attacking a bag, that if the bag was released by itself without the Funko, it would still have been hard to get, but it wouldn't have been nearly as hard as it was because it was like a combined collector effort. So Loungefly is a mess. Like, I don't know, but I also feel like lately, the last couple of months, I don't know, maybe they took the holidays off. They've been releasing a lot of bags, but I don't think any of them have been like of the nature where the bag has sold out or even on pre-order. Like this last pre-order for December 31st, I didn't even look at the pre-orders until January 1st. And that's a rare for me to like not even, because the drops drop at midnight. So, at midnight on December 31st and January 1st, the new releases come out and the popular ones are going to sell out very, very quickly. I wasn't concerned that anything was going to sell out. And when I checked back in the next day at 3 p.m., everything was still there. Like, it was nothing that sold out.
It's very much a gamble.
It is.
Okay. Hey, Mel. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so the next question I have is another really important question and kind of another big reason I had you on here. So you started a series on your Being a AJANACLAIR channel that is Magical Moms.
Yeah.
And I really loved this series a lot, and I thought it was a really sweet idea. So I'm gonna let you kind of talk about it a little bit. I think it's very special, and I always love, obviously I'm passionate about spreading light in the community. That's why I created this series. But I really loved your take on how you created the series because it's very unique and
Yeah.
it's something I hadn't seen before. So I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about that series and why you decided to create it.
So I created the Magical Mom series as a part of, it was part of the creation of my Being a AJANACLAIR channel. And it was an embodiment of, it was intended to recognize all of the places where I felt unseen and unheard as a person and as a mother. And I'm like, I can't say these things for myself, but I was like, if I do this series, I can speak these things into existence and speak life into these sentiments and remind women the things that I feel like we do need to hear, that I needed to hear. But it's like it's like one of those things where it's like you don't take your own advice, right? You can't listen to yourself. So maybe if I put it out there and put it onto someone else, and what the series had started as, and it's coming back. We haven't had a Magical Mom since September, but it is coming back. And the reason, like, I took the series in a direction that became overwhelming for me and started to kind of stray away from what I wanted to do. And I just needed to kind of take a step back and kind of regroup, because I felt like I felt like I went like, so okay, take a step back. Let me start over. So when I started the series, it was just me acknowledging a mom in the community, but part of the acknowledgement was a message. And it wasn't the same. And that's the thing, like when you do something like that, you have to be careful not to have the same message every month. And it wasn't the same. And so each of the women that I picked, it was a different message that I was trying to portray. And the ultimate message is basically, as moms, we're great mothers. Like, people are great mothers, but we are people beyond being mothers. We are people beyond being wives. We are people beyond being employees. Like, we are women, and we are great as women. We are great as who we are. And I think a lot of times we lose ourselves in that. And I wanted there to be a positive message. There's always so much talk about self-care and self-love, but it's easy to have those messages. You hear those messages, but it's like different when somebody's saying it to you. when somebody's telling you specifically, it is okay for you to take an extra 10 minutes in the bathtub. It is okay for you to eat your Snicker bar in the closet and not want to share it with anybody. Like, it is okay for you to want to take an extra 15 minutes at the grocery store because you know when you get home, you're going to have all them kids in your face. Like, it is okay for you to just want to do something for you. It's okay for you to want to go take a salsa dance class and be away from your kids for one night a week, right? Like, it's not selfish to do that. And I feel like a lot of times, like, when we as women want to do things for ourselves, somehow it looks like we're taking something away from something else. Whereas people don't realize when we do things for ourselves as women, especially as mothers, where you're constantly having to give to somebody for nothing in return but some hugs and cuddles. And yeah, that's all great. Like, I love my kid and my kid loves me, but you know, like when I go to work, I get a paycheck, right? Like,
Right.
my kids pay me in hugs and kisses. Like, that's beautiful, but you know, leave me alone. So it's just like it's you know, it's okay to take some time for yourself and to give to yourself what you need, because you're not actually taking anything away. You're actually giving something back by taking a little bit of space for myself. I am replenishing the person who I am and who I need to be, so that when I'm with my children, when I'm with my husband, when I'm at work, like, I can actually be all the things that I need to be. But if you're constantly like running on empty and you're running on fumes, like, you're not operating at full capacity. Like, you have to gas up. You won't drive your car constantly on E, because eventually it's going to putter and you're going to be stuck on the side of the road somewhere. It's the same like with your life. Like, you can't constantly be running on empty, and you have to know, like, it is okay to pull over, pull up to that tank, fill up your tank, and keep it moving. And that's why I started the series. And where I said it started to get overwhelming is I introduced an element that I thought was super sweet, and that was an element where I had people who were a part of my magical mom's lives sending messages for them. Where it started to become stressful was trying to pinpoint, like, trying to maintain the surprise of the magical mom, but also pinpoint the right people to deliver a message and to get a message. And then it just started feeling like, oh my gosh, like, well, if I do this person and I get a message from this person and I don't get a message from that person, and it just started becoming like that downward spiral where you're like, okay, this is going in a direction where I did not ever want it to go. You know, like, if I had a mom on in 1 month and I had like 5 messages for that person, but then another mom, I could only get like 2 messages. Is that person going to actually feel worse because they only had 2 messages compared to somebody else who had 5 messages? So it was just like, just take a step back. And so, starting fresh in 2022, Magical Moms will continue, but it will continue to be my personal message and my little love letter to my mom friends on YouTube, with no outside help.
Yeah.
This way, it's always a message from me to them versus a message from me to them and then trying to include, like, it's a great sentiment and it was a great idea, but I felt like it started to become more of something negative than positive. And not because it was a negative thing, like, it's a great thing and it's a beautiful thing to hear, like, wonderful things people have to say about you, but it was just, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't the direction that I wanted it to go. And I took it in that direction. And so I accept responsibility for taking it in that direction. But as it started to go in that direction, it just started feeling very overwhelming and very stressful, because you start I mean, it was already stressful enough thinking about the lineup of magical moms and feeling like, oh, this person's going to, you know, somebody may feel bad if they don't get picked to be a magical mom. That I could handle. Like, it's just, it is what it is. Like, there's there's one mom per month. Like, but that added element of having like other people give their feedback and give their thoughts and give their messages, it started to feel just like, plus then I would have to wait for people to message me back, so then it kind of threw me off of my schedule because I had to like wait for, and I was just like, no, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah. Well, I think, like you said, I do really think it was a good idea and it is a good sentiment. But then, like you said, like at the end of the day, it's too overwhelming for you. And then, like, it does make sense. I mean, there can definitely, I do think just people on this platform in general, um, people have different communities and people interact. Like, there's people who are really social and they have a lot of like more friends and more contacts on the community. And then there's people who like to just kind of do their thing and they may reach out to like one or two people and be fine with that. So
Yeah.
I can definitely see,
Yeah.
there's people who have bigger communities, but I am excited for that series to come back.
Yeah.
And I really loved it. And I think that you've done a great job with it so far. And it's a very beautiful series, to take the person and,
Yeah.
be like, motherhood is great and you're great at that, but there's more to you than that and recognizing
Yeah.
that. And I think that was a really beautiful idea that you had
Yeah.
that definitely added a lot to the community. So I'm excited to see those coming back. Next question I have, so who are some people in this community that you would say inspire you? Now, this can be people who, like, when you were starting out, like, you looked to their channels and was like kind of helped you. I know you said that you kind of quit comparing yourself to some
Yeah.
channels, but is there anyone that, now or when you first started that like kind of inspires you with your channel, or even, just in any way with YouTube? I know it's hard to pick. I mean, you can
I
pick
know,
more than one
I know. I
person.
like this question now. Like, I don't know, like a year ago, I could have easily answered this question, but now that I have so many, I've met so many different people in this community. It's like it's hard to just kind of pinpoint like one source of
Yeah.
inspiration. Like, I would say when I first started, um, I used to watch like Edna's World. Like I said, when I first started, I watched a lot of travel content and a lot of cruise vlogs, and so those people kind of inspired me to like start like those travel channels. They weren't necessarily like Disney based, but
Yeah.
now I feel like there's just a whole host of people in this community that inspire me to continue and to keep it
Yeah.
going. And I think that's more what I look forward to. I feel like a big part of this community are, a lot of people in this community are smaller channels, but
Mhm.
they have big hearts, they have big ideas, they have big skills, big talent. We just don't have the big exposure yet, and that to me that's more inspirational than the bigger channels, because it's easy to keep going and releasing videos on a regular basis when you have 50,000 subscribers, when you have 20,000 subscribers, when you even have 10,000 subscribers, right?
Right.
Like, it's easy to keep going. But when you have 100, 200, 300, 400 subscribers, and you're still releasing good content and you're still committed, to me, those are the people that have become very inspirational to me, because they are putting in the time, they're putting in the work, they are supporting the community, they are supporting their own personal growth, and they're doing it in spite of the fact that they don't have like a large following. And I
Yeah.
that's where I find my inspiration these days.
I will say I agree with you. I'm the same way, but I also think I think it's good in a way to almost be like a smaller channel that has to grow, because I feel like the people who come on this platform and they grow really quickly. And that happens for some people. Some people come on here and they hit something and it just happens. Um like when I first started, some of my first videos, my reaction videos, they did like really well, but I felt so alone because I didn't have anyone. I didn't have anyone in the community. I had some people who liked my videos who would comment on that, but I also had some like really mean people who would comment other things, but I didn't have like any friends in the community. And so that was really, really hard. And I feel like
Yeah.
for me personally, what's made the difference in me being like, oh, I want to continue, I think you have to have some like, you have to want to do it. But then I think
Mhm.
if you have some friends who are doing it and you have people who are going to encourage you and support your channel, I think that makes a big difference. So I think it's a good thing. Like, that would be big advice I would give to someone who's starting their channel, even if it's like kind of out of your comfort zone. Like, try to find some channels that are about your size or starting out and be like, just try to connect with them and get get some like relationships, because I feel like it does for a lot of people make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And just it helps you keep going and helps you be more inspired as well if you have a little bit of community. So
it definitely helps, and it's changed how it's also changed how I view YouTube. Like I understand the bigger channels can't engage really. Like you're not going to be able to respond to 1,000 comments, but I do notice that some of the bigger channels, they don't engage really, with their content at all. And I'm like, I don't care. Even if you select like every 50th, comment you're going to respond to, I never want to lose that. Like I feel like you do have to be engaged. You have to pay it forward. Like I never want to become a channel where I forget that the people who helped me grow are the people who are in my comment section. So.
right. Nina commented and said, yes, don't be shy to comment. Let people know you're there and exist. I agree. I think it makes a big difference, to have people there and
Yeah.
commenting and stuff, and it makes it easier. Like I was younger when I started, and I like was very new, and like right off the bat, my first 2-3 videos, like we're getting like several thousand views, and I got like some really positive, like looking back, I'm like, I really got some positive feedback, but I got some like really mean comments. And that was really hard for me to deal with as like a college student that had never done this. And I didn't have a community of people or any friends to be like, oh, it's okay. Like, you just keep going. And, so for anyone on here, it definitely is hard, I think, to like, if you look at the negative comments, but, just try to like look at the positive ones too.
Look at the positive ones only.
Yeah.
Well, look at the negative comments because you see them, right? Look at the negative comments in the sense that, oh, this is something I need to delete and remove from my channel and remove from my headspace. But don't look at them for the substance of what they are. Focus on the positive. And I will say, like, for my YouTube journey thus far, knock on wood, I have not had any comments that I would consider negative to the point where I felt the need to delete them. Where they were more personal attacks or just judgmental or just kind of just ugliness. I haven't had any of that. And but I'm also like, I feel like I've mentally prepared myself for it. But I also feel like I come across as a don't mess with me kind of so it's like, as nice as I am, it's like I still got that RBF sometimes, and people are like, don't mess with her. Like she is not about that life.
And Tammy said, ignore the trolls that are too many haters. And I mean, it's true. And I've honestly gotten to the point, like, I don't feel like I get really, I mean, I feel like if it was something I was already insecure about, like if they mentioned something that I was already thinking, like there was one vlog I did for Vlogmas that I had a comment that was like, this isn't the best edited video, but it was still fun or whatever. And like that it was true. But I was like, it kind of stung a little because it was true. But like, I've had some that are just like, not even true, just craziness. And I respond back sometimes because I'm really bad right now about responding to comments. But when I was like, I'm more on top of it. I mean, I would even respond back and be like, it's fine. Like, everyone can have their opinion. They weren't like completely nasty, but I even had one commenter one time that got mad at the person who commented. Like I had them fighting and I was like, oh, it's sweet. Someone came to my defense, I guess. It's someone I didn't even know. And they were like, I can't believe this person commented on your video and said that mean thing about you. And it was, people, it's funny how like people in the comments will like kind of stand up for you sometimes.
Well, people who enjoy your content don't want to see you attacked as a creator, right? And it's like, for me, when I release certain videos, I'm not a person who censors. Like, I feel like if you're watching my content, you're an adult. Like, my content may be about Disney, but if you're in my content, you're an adult. Like, you're watching this, and if you're commenting, you can handle yourself. So if you put something out there that, spurs people to like kind of come at you, that's on you. However, if I do see like in my comments, and I actually haven't had this on like YouTube, but you know, I've seen this happen on like on Facebook, especially like when we were going through like the election period last year. And you know, I mean 2020, like during that time, and people tensions were high, and you know, posts were, you know, very, very intense. You know, my thing is I'm not a person who censors. I'm not going to censor comments, but I don't tolerate personal attacks, because the way that I feel like my channel is I'm inviting people to come to my channel. And if I'm inviting you to come to my channel, I'm inviting you to comment. And if I'm inviting you over, it's like if I invite you to my home, I'm not going to expect you to get attacked in my home. Now, if you come over here and you start attacking people, you're on your own. But if you say something and then there's some random person who just kind of goes off on you, you know, while you're on my YouTube channel, in my comments, I feel almost responsible for making sure, like, I invited you here, I invited you to comment, but you should not be open to attack because of that. So those comments I won't tolerate. And you know, but you know, if it's just kind of back and forth banter and people going back at it, like, and you open the door to that, then you're on your own.
Yeah.
I'm letting it happen.
Yeah.
But I do, like, if somebody just is like, oh, you're just a stupid face, like, I'm not going to keep that comment up. Like, you don't come in my house and call my guests a stupid face. Like, what is that?
Yeah. I like you said though, like I haven't seen like, a whole lot of that, and I feel like, you know, I feel like we know kind of when it gets to that point. I feel like you
Yeah,
kind of know, like you're like, okay, like this needs to. And I have deleted some comments that have been like very inappropriate, and I'm like, it
yeah,
just doesn't have anything to do with the content. It's not like constructive
right.
at all about the content. So I'm like, I'm just gonna delete it because it's not there's not a place there. It's just there to cause chaos and cause
Yeah,
people's opinion, you know, feelings to get hurt. So I think you have to kind of know, like you said, know the line there of like what to let, you know, happen, and then like
yeah,
what to be like, okay, this is a little too far. Speaking of, you know, your channels and them being adults, how about Zoelle, and how do you think Zoelle is going to like I'm just so interested to see Zoelle continue to grow up, and like what role do you think she's gonna like have with Zoelle's world? Do you think eventually she's gonna like take Zoelle's world over from you and be like, no, this is my channel by myself? Like,
I
what do
think
you
she
think?
would. I think she would. I think eventually she's going to want to be a bigger part of the channel, but she wants to be a bigger part of the channel on kind of like the outside stuff. And we were
Yeah.
actually just talking today, and we had a conversation in the car about Encanto, and she was asking these questions about the movie, and like these were like deep questions. She was like, "But mom, the house, I don't understand. If her door disappeared, did she get a gift?" And I said, "No, Zoa, I think she was the gift. But but if she's not really a present, then how can she be get?" And I'm sitting there having this conversation with my 5-year-old, and I'm like, bells are going off, and I was like, okay, she is a very intuitive, she's very aware. So I was like, oh, I smell a new series coming on where we just sit down and do a mother-daughter chat where we watch a movie and we talk about the movie.
Yeah.
And from her perspective. And I think she's getting more engaged and she wants to be more stuff like that. She's actually less about the stuff than I am. Hey, she's just like, mom, you just buying it. Like, she's like, you have too much stuff. Like, why do you have all this stuff? You don't need any more stuff. Yeah, coming from the girl who wants a toy every time we walk in the store. So so I definitely see her doing that. And then I know this sounds crazy because I'm always like, I have no more time. But I also like, she wants to start doing her own kind of toy series. And I was like, well, that doesn't really fit on Zoelle's world to just do kind of like a toy series. So she is going to start her own channel that's going to be like a made for kids type channel that's going to have like her toy unboxings and her like toy reviews, because she thinks she can do what Ryan does but better. And I'm like, you probably can. So and I'm always encouraging her to do what she wants to do. So we're definitely gonna start that. So and I didn't want to put that, because we have like people who will watch something that we put on Zoel's World because we put it on Zoel's World, and I don't want people to feel obligated to watch that particular content because it's not really geared towards that audience. It's just something else. And we have been toying around with the idea of doing it for a while, but she seems to really want to do it. And so I think what we're trying to do is we're going to do a toy unboxing where we show the toy, we show all the bits and components of it. And then it'll be a segment where, you know, you have her playing with the toy and she'll give kind of like the kids review, and then I'll give kind of like the mom review. So she'll give her review of like how fun the toy is, how much she likes it, if she liked it, and I'll give my review of like, is this worth your money, parents?
I think that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think
Especially
it'll
y'all
be a fun
getting to do it together. Like
Yeah,
you said,
yeah,
even the movie, like talking about the movies, I think it's special. Even like we were talking earlier about the vlogs, even to do it and just like, you know, put it out there and have it be informative, but also like just to like have a memory and to go back and like see, especially at her, you know, as
yeah,
she grows up and see her at that age, be like, oh, at this age, this is like what you thought and like,
yeah,
you know, how you acted. And I think that's really cool to like get to look back at, you know, and
yeah.
have those memories
And
on
sometimes I
camera.
just want to catch her thoughts on camera because I'm just like, there are times like things that come out of her mouth and I'm just like, okay, did she really just say that? Like
Yeah.
it's just something that just makes so much sense, but it's just, it came from such a tiny human and you're just like, where'd that come from? Like her thing now is she uses literally a lot.
Yeah. Oh my
Literally is
goodness.
her new word, and she uses it in the correct context, but she uses it quite often. And then she started something else that I heard her say today, and I was like, oh my god, is this going to be the new literally? And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't. But I mean, the thing, like, she's just so, she is just so well spoken for her age, and I just want to share that, like, and I want her to like see that, like, I just want to remember it, you know,
Yeah.
like I have like today's conversation, like I remember bits and pieces of it, but I would have loved to have had that whole conversation on record just to just sit and watch her because she was so cute.
Well, Morgan has joined us, and I predicted it earlier, but she says, OMG, AJANACLAIR, your shirt. I know, as soon as I saw her shirt, I was like, Morgan would be in love right now.
Box
And
lunch, girl, box lunch.
yeah. And she asked about my background. It is so I've had this bookshelf forever, and I don't think I did one or two videos in front of it like forever ago, and I hated it. But I redid the bookshelf like really quickly before we started, and there will be more. There'll be more in front of the bookshelf. But I got this book over here. Morgan got me for Christmas is up there. So yes. Okay. I have it's really two questions, but you can kind of answer them together. This will be our last question and then we'll wrap it up. But this is a good one that I feel like I wanted to end on. And I want to know what you feel like your biggest success has been since starting your YouTube channel and what you feel like your biggest challenge has been since you've started your YouTube channel. So
I always like to end on a high note, so I'll start a challenge first.
yes.
I feel like my biggest challenge on YouTube, to be honest, has been getting my getting my husband on board with the channel. Like, I think that's been the most challenging aspect because, you know, when you're by yourself, you can't do things the way you want to do them and how you want to do them, what you want to do. But when you're with somebody else, like, you have to kind of consider them and consult them. And my husband doesn't understand any of this and he doesn't get it and he doesn't, you know, and I can explain it until I'm blue in the face. And I don't know if he doesn't get it because he doesn't want to, if he doesn't get it because he just doesn't get it. um, but I have plans for our channel, and I have plans for our channel to grow, and I have plans for our channel to be successful to the point where I can make this, you know, something that I do on a full-time basis. Whether or not that, you know, that's my plan, that's my goal, that is what I'm working towards. does that happen? I don't know. Like with any other kind of startup business, I don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. You want it to happen. You plan for it to happen. You set goals and you work towards those things happening. And they either, your business either takes off or it flops. Like it is what it is. And I'm okay with that. And I think that's like the biggest challenge, because then it creates this dynamic where the time that you need to put into it looks more like something that you're taking away from the family versus something that you're putting into the family. And these are, and I chose that one as a struggle because I think it's easy to like set a challenge, like, oh, my challenge is I can't get my viewership up or I can't get these numbers. But there is a real element where if you are a content creator and you want to do this, and it's something that's more, that you look at, that's more than just a hobby, there's an element of, if you're not like a single person who just has the liberty to come and go as you please and do what you want to do at any time, there's this whole family dynamic that plays into it. And I don't know how like other channels are, like how they're affected and how, what role their channel plays in their relationships. But I can tell you, having this channel has been a struggle in our relationship. And because it's, for me, it's my outlet, it's my release. And so anything that's like trying to attack this, it's like almost like attacking me at my core, because this is somehow become something that's so important to me, and something that I need so much, that if you're not on board with it, somehow you're not on board with me. And I know like that's not like the case, but when you have something that's that important to you, it begins to feel like an attack on you as a person when somebody else doesn't get it and appreciate and understand it. So I think that's been like the biggest challenge, and it's something that we're working through. And I don't, and it's like one of those things where I'm like, I don't know. Like I have a lot of answers for a lot of things in my life. And that's just one where I'm like, I don't know, we're just gonna figure it out. But in terms of the success, I would say the big success I've had is just my community. I have the best group of people in my circle, in my corner, in my community, people that I have never met in person.
Yeah.
That, I'm like, my life is so much richer because I have these people. And I just can't ever imagine, a year and a half ago, I had no idea these people existed. And now I'm like, how does life exist without, having a conversation with these people? You and I, we go like weeks without talking, and I'm just like, Haley, are you okay? Like,
I know. I disappear. I get overwhelmed, but then it definitely, and I've said this before, I feel like you guys have like, you're one of the people too. I'm like, I always feel like if I have you've helped me. I had like this aversion to like shipping things, and it was so embarrassing. I was so embarrassed, but I was so terrified to ship items. And I sent a AJANACLAIR something, and it got lost.
It didn't help that you sent something that got lost in the mail.
I know. And I was like, oh no. And then that just like made it so much worse because I was so scared. And she like literally, I would ask her so many questions of like, I have this anxiety about shipping things. And she's like, okay, this is what you're going to do. It's going to be okay. And I credit her a lot to helping me get through it. I will say I'm much better now. I've shipped several boxes and it's okay. But like, that was a big struggle for me this year. And I like went to her because I'm like, she knows what to do. It was a thing. But like, I always know, like, if I'm going through something, like I can like, there's certain people in the community, you feel like you're like, we might not talk every single day, but like if we need something, or if we're going through something and they need support, but I think it's everyone, for me, I work in healthcare, and like with all this going on, I mean, it's a lot on me. And there's like days where I don't like hardly talk to anyone. But like even seeing people's messages, in group chats, even if I'm not in them, it's like knowing people are still there, that you can talk to, I think makes it better, even if you're not directly talking to them,
Yeah.
So I agree. Really quickly to go back, there was some comments, which I'm not married, but I do understand kind of the challenge of like your family
Yeah.
not really understanding and having to really. Now, I could not film at 3 a.m. like you do. I could not. Listen, I could not. I could
It's
not.
like, you want peace or
Oh.
you want a video? Like,
No. So yeah, so like that's kind of the struggle because like our house too, like we don't have like a basement or anything or an upstairs, like, and so it's like if I'm trying to film, I'm like, so can we turn the TV off for like for like a few minutes so I can film? And it's kind of it's I feel bad for asking, and then it's like sometimes very inconvenient. So
yeah,
I definitely get the struggle.
yeah,
Nina says she loves when her husband's on her channel, but he does not love it. Um, and she says it's kind of the same with any business, working can seem like taking time away.
yeah.
Um, and, but you got to kind of set your
You have to
goals
do it.
and keep
Yeah.
doing it. Dizzy Mertz, it's easy for mine because he's a massive gamer. And now I get my thing that he's not allowed to even dare come for because I respect his dumb gaming.
I
I,
would love it if my husband had like a thing that
a
was
thing.
time consuming, because I would be like, okay, babe, go do it. But no, he doesn't have a thing. And so that makes it even worse.
You need to get him a gaming system and be like, hey, babe, you want to go game?
I
He just
think he has
doesn't.
like a whole man cave set up in the garage. Like, he has a TV down there. He has so it's like, I don't know. But it's married, and we're also like a newly married couple. So it's a little growing pains. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I like to be transparent and informative, but I also like to let people know, like, I'm human. Like,
Yeah.
like, my challenge. I'm not gonna sit here and give you like superficial challenges. Like, that is my challenge. That has been my challenge. That is like, I feel like if I ever get divorced, I feel like the word YouTube will be somewhere in a divorce decree.
Irreconcilable differences due to YouTube.
Exactly. Like, I try to I try to get him to understand, like, this is my creative outlet. For 40 plus years, I have, for my entire adult life, I have done everything that everyone else has wanted me to do, has needed me to do. I have been everything for everybody else. And right now, this is what I need for me. This is when I'm happiest. This is when I'm like, when I'm sharing a Loungefly bag. I mean, like, I got this new Encanto bag. Like, how
Aw,
beautiful is
that
this?
is
Like, how can
beautiful.
you not be happy? Like, when you see something like that, right? So, I'm like, this is just my thing. And like, doing travel content, like doing the vlogs. Like, I understand, like, you don't want to be on camera, and you don't have to be on camera, but you have to support what it is that I'm trying to do, because this is not just a hobby for me.
Yeah.
This is my side business. This is my business. It's not a side business. I don't have a main business. Like, I mean, I have a job, but I don't own that business. I work for somebody else. This is my business. This is, what I'm trying to grow. And this is what I'm trying to do. So you have to get on board. And I think, and that's the struggle,
Yeah.
because it's like, now it's not, you don't support my hobby. It's like, you don't support my dream, and you have to support the dream. Like, as a couple, you have to support each other's dreams. Even if you don't always agree with them, you have to support them.
Yeah.
So that's the
I do
challenge.
I do think for my case, and it's different. I think it'll be different for every single person who struggles with this, from, whether it is your husband, or like your family in general. I think for me, like it did get a little bit easier if like I just was really persistent. And I think some people are more understanding than other people about it. But like if
Mhm.
you're really passionate about it and it's something you love and it's a part like you said, it's a part of your dream and your goals in life. And I think if you're just persistent about that and you keep doing that. I think that's all you really can do.
Yeah.
And just, but I also don't feel like if you're out there and like you feel like your family, because for me, I don't really even consider myself a shy person, but I just got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, like people are gonna judge me and my family's gonna think I'm weird and all this stuff. And I had to a point where I was like, it's fine. It's whatever. If they think I'm weird, they think I'm weird. And like it don't really matter. Like if you're doing what
Yeah.
makes you happy, You just have to kind of find the time and be considerate of other people's schedules, but also be like, hey, like I do what, like you said, you do everything, like you've done a lot for your family, and like this is something for you, and you gotta make it happen for you.
That makes it
So
happen.
yeah, I'm excited. Your channels have grown so much. They're so amazing. I really love your content and your personality. I know you're gonna be very successful. And I thank you so much for coming on today for my first ever live. I was a little nervous, but you definitely have a good presence on camera. So we'll end with you telling me, what do you have coming up on your channel this next month or so that you're really excited for?
So over on Zoel's World, the things that I have coming up that I'm super excited for is I'm finally getting these trip vlogs released. Like I have some edited that are already in the pipeline and in the works, and so I have a lot of that content coming up, and like I said, we're gonna start this like Disney movie review series, so I'm super excited about that. Um, because I'm just super excited to, like, you guys think she's super cute when she's doing an unboxing. Wait until you have to hear her in an actual conversation. Over on Being AJANACLAIR, the biggest thing I'm excited about over there now is like I have a ton of lounge by content coming up because I have a ton of bags that have come in over the last couple of months that I have to release. But the thing that I'm most excited about is I am doing on Friday nights live RuPaul's Drag Race watch parties, and my
You had
mom and
your
I,
first one already, right?
we had the first one on
Yes, I saw
Friday.
that. Yes.
We had the first one on Friday. We're trying to figure out like kind of how the format we want it to be. I think this Friday coming up, we're going to do a drinking game. So we're going to find like a word. We're going to rewatch the first episode and kind of learn the queens a little bit and see like what kind of buzzwords they have. And we're going to kind of create a drinking game around the buzzwords so people can kind of join in. And I may even do like a bingo game where like if you hear certain terms, like you'll do like the buzzwords. And we are going to DragCon in May. So this is just kind of like getting us hyped for DragCon. Yeah. So I'm super duper excited about that. So yeah, Friday nights, 8:00, Being AJANACLAIR, join us in the chat. If you want to come on and watch the show with us, definitely do it. My mom and I know nothing about like makeup and stuff, but we're going to try, like, in preparation of our trip, we're trying to learn new things. So I think this Friday it's going to be lashes. So we're going to have like big lashes on Friday. And then we're going to like every week we're going to try to like introduce like a new element as we try to like get ourselves together to go to DragCon. And the funny thing is we're taking Zoel with us because it's supposed to be like a family friendly event, and she loves Drag Race. Like she is a huge drag queen. So I think it's going to be like hilarious taking her out there and just having it. And then we're going to go like Disneyland after. So
oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Disney Mertz says they stan RuPaul Drag Race.
Come,
so y'all have to watch.
8:00, watch with us.
That's so much fun. And I love that you're getting to like do that with your mom too and get your family.
Yes. And it's so funny because my mom came on the channel, and when she showed up, she had on this wig that had like blue tips at the end. I'm like, oh, you looking better than I am.
She came prepared.
She came prepared.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm excited for all of that stuff. You got a lot of fun stuff coming up. And I will be coming back next week, next Sunday. I'll have my friend Allie from Cinder. Allie Loves Disney. She'll come on and do a little talk with me. In terms of my other content, I kind of have it on hold right now because I'm actually doing a huge rebrand of my channel, which I am not going to talk about too much because I don't know all of the details yet, but I'm really excited. It's going to be very different, but kind of talking about what we said earlier. I really think it's important to like evaluate what content you're making and make sure it makes you happy. Yeah. So, I really am excited to see the direction of your channel going this year, you having the new content, and excited to show you guys what I have coming up. But thank you so much to everyone in the comments. Y'all are amazing. amazing. So thank you so much for joining. And thank you again, AJANACLAIR, for taking time out of your Sunday to come on here and talk with me. So we will end it here. Thank you guys again for coming, and make sure to be kind. All right. Bye. I got